screen right here and this cutout down here that screams, we know how to design a car. And they're not just design elements. In places, they also hide panel seats. This is here, for instance, on the door and up there in the front fender, just a design element. But back here, it hides the gap between this panel and this panel. This cutout down here is no different. Here, it's just a design element, but here is where the rear fender overlaps the rocker panel. Same with the front fender up there, and it's hidden brilliantly by this design element. And overall, it's really not a bad design. It's a good-looking car. Aside from the back end, that kind of looks like a rendering error, but there's only so much you can do with a three-wheeled car. I have to assume the exterior design of this is where a coach builder Mechanica came into play. It's done really well. It's when you get in close to this thing, starts to look a little low production. Like this black mat around the taillights and up on the center mount headlight around there. These are painted on, but they appear to have been hand masked. On the edges of the car, the telltale signs of masking tape lead through. The bottom of the grill, which is of course completely decorated, is how they're placed by Velcro. The black on the front fascia and the roof are just vinyl stickers. On the front fascia, it's not incredibly positioned, and on the roof, even worse, there's bubbles in it. This black right here is also hand applied slightly misaligned vinyl. Which means that, yeah, it's not a rear window. It doesn't have a rear window. It does have a backup camera, though. There's the lens right there. And this is something you would notice unless you have two of them. There's inconsistencies between my two cars. For instance, this is the headlight up here. One of these is the high beam, one of these is the low beam. Which one is the high beam is switched between the two cars. The branding is also this one says Electromechanica, but this one just says Mechanica. Even though the flat screen on both of them says Electromechanica, and the name listed under on their MSO says Mechanica. What's the name of your company? And then once you get inside, any illusion of a professionally mass-produced car goes away entirely. The interior of this thing is very strongly home-built, or kit car. There's the carpet, which is just universal automotive carpet glued down by hand. All the switches are not only off-the-shelf parts, but also mostly unlabeled. The steering column and stocks are a J.C. Whitney hot rod part or something. The dash is body-colored fiberglass with a glued-on liner on top that is trying to peel off. The screen is just an off-the-shelf part with a bezel around it, that bezel being the fiberglass dash. The seat does not fit in here. It's wedged so tightly between these two battery rails that the seat back adjustment is jammed. So it's locked into place. The passenger compartment is a box, 90-degree angle everywhere, including where my feet rest, which is against the firewall. Straight up and down, my feet are at a weird angle. And this seat is at a weird angle, too. It feels like they put into ergonomics of the seat and just bolted it straight to the flat floor. It simultaneously feels like I'm sitting sloped forward and reclined. It's not comfortable in here. Overall, the interior just feels like a complete afterthought in comparison to the exterior. Let's go through the controls real quick. This is your hatch popper button. This is your electronic parking brake, off and on. The cycle times are incredibly long. This unlabeled switch right here is your drive direction, drive, neutral, and reverse. This is blank on purpose. This is your windshield wiper, off to high, several speeds. And this is your washer nozzle. This is your fan speed, low, off, high. And this unlabeled knob right here is your heater. Pull it out to turn the heater on, and the knob adjusts the temperature. What you're adjusting it to, I have no idea. And while this looks like a rocker switch, it's actually a momentary button to turn on the heated seat. And it's 3 different settings. And this unlabeled switch right here is your screen brightness, low and high. Those are your 2 settings. And this is the trip reset button. This steering column has the stiffest stalks I've ever used. This little knob down here is your hazard, and it's just as stiff as the blinker stalk. The brights are activated by this button on the end of the blinker stalk. And this is what it looks like when your steering column isn't designed for the car that it's in. Yeah, because that's an angle we need. If you've ever been inside a Wigo, this screen will look super familiar to you because it's the same screen, a Curtis N-Gage 7. You have amp draw, state of charge, the volts of your 12-volt battery for some reason, motor temperature, speed, drive direction, odometer, tripometer, and current consumption. And if you put it in reverse, left drive, you put it in reverse, it's your backup camera. Did you want to see how fast you were going in reverse? Too bad. On the dash, you have 4 air vents, 2 for you and 2 for the windshield. By the way, there's 2 of the front vents. There's 3D printed parts, as are these parts right here, and some other bits around the car. To the right of the column is the ignition key and the radio. I would give you an opinion on the radio, but I've literally never turned it on. There is a cup holder in here. It's all full of total afterthought. I wouldn't trust anything in it, and I keep kicking it when I get inside the car. It's in a terrible place. By the way, these mirrors are from a Chevy Cruze, as are the interior door handles. You also have power mirrors, power windows, and power locks, which is for those are exactly where you'd expect them, except for the lock. The only way to lock or unlock the doors is with the key fob remote. There's no other button to do it. And utterly bafflingly, I can't find, and the owner's manual makes zero mention of, a manual override. There appears to be no way to manually lock or unlock the doors. There's no keyhole here like you would expect. There's nothing on the inside. It doesn't seem to exist. So if the 12-volt battery dies in that thing, I don't know how to, or if it's even possible to unlock the doors. You can't jump the 12-volt because that requires access to under the hood, which you will have because the doors are locked. I'm just going to assume there is a manual override that I haven't found yet in the owner's manual, not mentioning it as just an oversight.
Hey guys, so what's up? I'm just killing some time right now.
In the car because there is no light switch. The lights are on all the time. When the key is on, you can't turn them off. Well, except in the white one. Sometimes if you hit the blinker the wrong way, it blows the fuse and then the lights go off. Behind the driver's seat, they really need to specify that it's the driver's seat. Is the hatch. You open it with electronic hopper. Given the minuscule size of the car, I would classify this hatch space as quite capacious. Also back here, and I completely forgot about this, it's just now, is the plaque. Signed by, presumably, the employees of Electromechanica, stating this car is part of the signature series of Electromechanica Solos. And what's hilarious to me is it says it's number 50 of 1,000 of the signature series. Now, production numbers of the G1 Solos are not clear. Fred told me 180. I don't know if that's true, but one thing I know for sure is they did not build 1,000 of them. This is number 50, and it's the last year of the G1. These plaques raise even more questions. Why were these never sold? Anyway, while we're back here, yes, it does have a full-size license plate holder for a motorcycle plate. I hate it as much as you do. And underneath there is the charge port, regular J1772. And this is the charge indicator light. The white one does not have this. Something the G1s have that the G2 and G3s don't have is a frunk. You just open it with the hood release, like you would on most cars. Open up the secondary latch, and voila! Front. It's pretty big too. There's about a foot of depth, maybe 8-10 inches of width here, and about 2 feet wide. You can put a lot of stuff in here. Now the reason these have a frunk and the G2 and G3s don't is because these don't have air conditioning. The G2 and G3s, they have air conditioning, which is what filled up all of that space. These don't, but you get a frunk. I guess you can fill that up with ice if it makes you feel better. And behind this little carpeted piece right here, which is fairly easy to take out, you have actual fluids like your brake fluid, your windshield washer fluid, and your 2 fuse boxes. Also in here is your 12-volt jump point. The actual 12-volt battery is in the cabin, but you can jump it from here, and you can get a glimpse of that aerospace honeycomb composite structure that Electromechanica like to brag about. And right here on the firewall, it says it is car number 38. You can see the structure of the early G1 Solos quite clearly from Electromechanica.